Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Bihari. Jaya Gopi Janavallabha Jaya Girivaradhari Jaya Girivaradhari. Jaya Gopi Janavallabha Jaya Girivaradhari Jaya Girivaradhari. Jaya Yashoda Nandana Jaya Vrndesa Ranjana. Jaya Yashoda Nandana Jaya Vrndesa Ranjana. Jaya Yamuna Tiravana Chari Jaya Kunja Bihari. Jaya Yamuna Tiravana Chari Jaya Kunja Bihari. Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Bihari. Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Bihari. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada. Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada. Jai Vishnupada Paramahamsa Prabhupada Ashtotara Shri Śrīmad Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj Srila Prabhupada ki jai. ISKCON BBT Founder-Acharya Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Jai Vishnupada Paramahamsa Prabhupada Ashtotara Shri Śrīmad Bhaktivedanta Sri Thakur Maharaj Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Ananda Kodi Vaishnavrinda ki jai. Grandharaj Śrīmad Bhāgavatam ki jai. Nitai Gaur Premanande. All glories to assembled devotees, all glories to assembled devotees, all glories to assembled devotees, all glories to Shri Guru Gauranga, all glories to Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. We are reading from Śrīmad Bhāgavatam, Canto 7, Chapter 5, entitled Prahlad, the saintly son of Hiranyakashipu. Verse number 4. Ekada surarat putram Angamaropya Pandava Prabhacha Kathetam Vatsa Manyate Sadhu Yat Bhavan. Ekada Surarat Putram Angamaropya Pandava Prabhacha Kathetam Vatsa Manyate Sadhu Yat Bhavan. Ekada Surarat Putram Angamaropya Pandava Prabhacha Kathetam Vatsa Manyate Sadhu Yat Bhavan. Angamaropya Pandava. One person, please. Manyade sadhiyat bhava. Madajis. Manyade sadhiyat bhavan. Chakadhidam valsa. Manyade sadhiyat bhavan. Ekada surarat putram. Angamaropya Pandava. Prabhacha Kathadam Vatsa. Manyade Sadhuyat Bhavan. Word to a translation, responsibly please. Ekada, once upon a time. Asurarat, the emperor of the Asuras. Putram, his son. Angam, on the lap. Aropya, placing. Pandava, O Maharaj Yudhishthira. Prabhacha, inquired. Kathayatam, let it be told. Vatsa, my dear son. Manyate, considers. Sadhu, the best. Yet, that which. Bhavan, your good self. My dear King Yudhishthir, once upon a time, the king of the demons, Hiranyakashipu, took his son Prahlada on his lap and very affectionately inquired, my dear son, please let me know what you think is the best of all the subjects you have studied from your teachers. Purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Hiranyakashipu did not ask his young son anything that would be very difficult for him to answer. Instead, he gave the boy a chance to speak plainly about whether he thought might be best. Prahlad Maharaj, of course, being a perfect devotee, knew everything and could say what the best part of life is. In the Vedas it is said, Yasmin vijñāde sarvamevam vijñātam bhavati. If one properly understands God, he can understand any subject matter very nicely. Sometimes we have to challenge big scientists and philosophers, but by the grace of Krishna, we emerge successful. It is impossible, practically speaking, for ordinary men to challenge scientists or philosophers concerning genuine knowledge. But a devotee can challenge them because the best of everything is known to a devotee by the grace of Krishna, as confirmed in Bhagavad Gita 10:11. Tesham evanukampartham ajnanajam tamaha nasheshyami atma bhavasto jnana deepena bhaswata. Krishna, who is situated in the core of everyone's heart as the super soul, dissipates all the ignorance from the heart of a devotee. As a special favor, he enlightens the devotee with all knowledge by putting before him the torch of light. Prahlad Maharaj therefore knew the best of knowledge, and when his father inquired from him, Prahlad gave him that knowledge. Prahlad Maharaj was able to solve the most difficult parts of problems because of his advanced Krishna consciousness. Therefore, he replied as follows. Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Sapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guroh Shri Yuta Padagamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanutam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanutamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindho Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanjana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanusute Devi Pranamami Haripriye Vanchagalpatarubhyacha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna. This verse is the turning point in the episode of Prahlad Maharaj and Hiranyakashipu. From this, the story takes a turn because the answer to this question is going to be very controversial, very much challenging. And from there onwards, we can actually see the real pastime, what takes place, ending up in the appearance of Lord Narasimhadev. Appearance of Lord Narasimhadev is going to come very soon, pretty much in a few days. So it is very auspicious to meditate upon this pastime and also to reflect upon this purport, which is very powerful and practical, and that which is demonstrated by Srila Prabhupada in his life. So here, Prahlad Maharaj, just a young boy, maybe 5 years old or lesser, he went to school of Śrīmad the main person. It's his school. He's his school. He is the Gurukul of Śrīmad. He is the main person. He is the headmaster. And the two teachers are Shanda and Amarka, the main teachers, because since he is a prince, Śrīmad cannot allot any other teachers. There are many teachers, as we can understand, but they had the prime teachers, the most reputed demoniac teachers available. They were Shanda and Amarka. So Shanda and Amarka were teaching for quite some time on all atheistic subjects. How to fight, how to be diplomatic, how to differentiate between devotees and demons, how to support demons, how to curb devotees and how to put them down, and how to punish devotees. So he got education in all different things. So that's why in a few verses later, or actually next chapter, and we can hear when Prahlad Maharaj speaks to even Shanda and Amarka, he makes a very interesting point. I have heard that there is something like seeing everyone differently, discriminating among people, and being diplomatic, punishing someone and rewarding someone, and being political. I have heard about all these kind of things, but now I am hearing from you all these techniques and tactics. So he said, I have heard, because the Shastra speaks about everything, about the atheistic mentality. So Prahlad Maharaj says, I have heard, but now I am hearing from you. So this is the advanced Asura education. Asura University is going on here. And now, after some time, Hiranyakashipu, out of love, he placed his son on his lap. Hiranyakashipu has punished and tortured so many people, isn't it? A few chapters before, he ordered all the demoniac associates to do something. What do they have to do? Any idea? What do they have to do? Kill whom? No, not yet. Even before. Kill the devotees. First, destroy the Brahmanical culture. Because he went to the core of the problem. If you destroy the Brahmanical culture by killing cows, by cutting fruit trees, and killing Brahmanas, then there won't be any yajna. And if there is no yajna, demigods will not get their oblations, so their power will be reduced. Meanwhile, I'll go and fight and kill Vishnu. In this way, I can make everything under control and I can be immortal. So he had the whole strategy. Correct? He had the whole strategy. So now, he worked about it. He created a chaos to the degree that all the demigods were at his fingertip. They were blinking of the eyes. They were there. They were ready to do anything. To the degree that the nature was producing opposite results according to the will of Hiranyakashipu. See the power of Hiranyakashipu. They could change the nature. Meaning at one time, spring, you want spring? Okay, spring is here. If you want to rain, it will rain now. In Melbourne it happens out of our control. We cannot do anything. Rain, this, that, everything happens, but without our control. But Hiranyakashipu, according to his will, he could do everything. Even Mother Earth had to produce riches as ordered by Hiranyakashipu. And then we can see the pastime. All the sages except Lord Shiva, Lord Brahma, they were under the control of Hiranyakashipu. Then, interestingly, it is mentioned even the great sages had to glorify Hiranyakashipu. Like Bhruku and even Devarshi Narada Muni. So now we can understand Hiranyakashipu had everything in his control, practically speaking. So his game plan was very successful. And now he is giving proper education to his child, Prahlad Maharaj. He went to school because always succession is a big thing. Right? Okay, now Hiranyakashipu is there. I want to see this young prince growing up and he is also becoming a great demon. So Prahlad Maharaj is ready. So he thought, my son must have educated something. Let me hear. He asked out of affection. So this is the fatherly affection. If you see, even though Hiranyakashipu, he tortured so many people. Even demigods, they were fed up because so much of punishment from Hiranyakashipu. That's why they had to approach the Supreme Lord. Had enough. But still, he had such a loving affection for his son for the time being. So for a demon's affection is conditional. If it is not affecting their sense gratification, then they will be very affectionate. But as soon as if you cross the line, then the true nature will come out. So here, the true nature has not yet come out. So from this question, things are going to change. So here, he placed his son out of love and then asked, okay, so what did you learn in school? Sometimes, you know that. After the whole day of study, if you go to school or mom is teaching whole day, whatever, at the end, what did you learn today? Oh, what is the best thing that you learned? It's a very casual question. Hiranyakashipu didn't expect a philosophical answer or a big thing. He just asked casually, what did you learn and what is the best that you learned? So it was a very innocent question in that sense. However, Prahlad Maharaj took it very seriously. Why? Because Prahlad Maharaj is a perfected devotee. He is a pure devotee. Even though he is at the age of 5, he is a perfected devotee. So he gave the answer which is very profound, which is going to agitate Hiranyakashipu and all the demoniac teachers. And later on, it gets very serious. Right? So here, we know the answer is very serious. That will be discussed. In the next verse, he directly instructed Hiranyakashipu. Because he said, look, at the end of the day, nothing is going to help. You have to be Krishna conscious. That's the next verse, Tat sadhumanye. I'm not going to get into it. So he explained the whole verse. And he even told that, Vanam gadoyat harimashrayedha. And what did he say? Hitvatmapadam griham andhagopam vanam gatoyat harimashrayata. Straight away he told. Hitva atmapadam. Atmapadam means that which causes falling of the soul. Atmapadam, padati, means falling. That will actually make one fall down. What is that? Griham andhagopam. That is the asuric griha. A demoniac or materialistic griha that is going to make one fall down. So, hitva atmapadam griham andhagopam. That is a qualifier. That is andhagopam. It's like a deep dark well. Vanam gatoyat harimashrayata. You go to the forest, which is Vrindavanam. That is the vanam. Harimashrayata. You take shelter of Hari. So, this is such a deep, profound answer Prahlad Maharaj gives. And now, Hiranyakashipu didn't expect anything. It was a very innocent question. And Prabhupada makes this important point that being a perfect devotee, one can answer any question. And he cites his own example. Prabhupada says, many philosophers and many scientists do challenge. They pose challenges to Srila Prabhupada. Is it? Have you heard any challenges? So many challenges in many conversations. They do so many challenges. But what happens? Prabhupada was able to smash everyone. Any question Prabhupada had, answer. How is it possible? How? How Prabhupada had answer for everything? Purity. Any other answer? How Prabhupada answered all the questions? Narottam. He had the best knowledge. That is one answer. Then? He is a pure devotee. He has the best knowledge. Not finished. Yes. Eh? Yes, a guru is supposed to know. But from the purport, let's hear some answer. Yes, do you know? He is a perfect devotee. That is there. Yes. Okay, that's right. He has a super soul. Which verse is quoted from Bhagavad Gita? No. Which verse is quoted from Bhagavad Gita? No. From this purport. What is the verse? Tesham eva nikampartham aham ajnanajam tamah nasheshyami atma bhavasto jnana deepena bhasvata. So, it's given. It's a very important verse. It's part of the Chatushloki in Bhagavad Gita. So, Krishna gives the knowledge. He is a pure devotee. Pure devotee means Krishna gives the knowledge. So, he is able to answer. And there is another reason. Okay, Krishna gives the answer. That is okay. He is a pure devotee. He is a guru. Krishna gives the answer. There is one more reason that is given in the purport. What is that? Exactly. If one knows Krishna, yasmin vijñāte sarvam evam vijñātam bhavati. If you know Krishna, then you know everything. So, because of these reasons, Prabhupada is telling, even though I was challenged many times by the non-devotee philosophers and scientists, but I smashed all of them. Right? This is very interesting. It is our privilege that we can watch all Prabhupada's conversations with all these big scientists, religionists, and how they pose questions and how Srila Prabhupada answers them in such a way that it is very convincing and it is smashing and entertaining as well. Is it right? It's a privilege for us because all these videos are there. We can go through some examples. One, to start with, it was in LA where a group of kids, just be quiet, Haribol, just be quiet. In LA, when a group of philosophers approached Srila Prabhupada, we can still watch that video. All these philosophers, 5, 10 of them, you can imagine, it's like one person against 10 other big philosophers, big professors. They have authored books. There are hundreds of students. Many have done PhDs under them. So you can understand the stature of such kind of philosophers and professors. All of them sitting in front of them. And Srila Prabhupada is sitting. So Srila Prabhupada is sitting and speaking just like a child. Just like Prahlad Maharaj. Very innocent, very smiling. If you see that video, Prabhupada is just very, very relaxed. He is not in a mood of, big questions. I am the guru, I am going to smash you. Nothing. Very relaxed. Prabhupada is sitting and all these philosophers are in front of them. Prabhupada asked this question. So, the purpose of your philosophy is to find the absolute truth, the ultimate truth, isn't it? You want to find the reality, what is the good for everyone, what is the ultimate reality. So can you tell me what is that ultimate reality? You are all big scholars. You can give the answer, right? So they said, no, we really cannot answer that. No, that is different opinions are there because they themselves have different opinions. So even one person will have different opinions in different points of time. So it is very difficult. So that, no, we cannot give that answer. Prabhupada said, I'll give you the answer. Krishna is the answer. Whatever you are searching for, that is Krishna. And I am going, you take it. And no one could really challenge Prabhupada. That is the interesting part. So it could look very controversial, but no one could challenge him. No one said anything. They smiled. They understood, okay, there is some reality, but we may not be able to accept, but we can't challenge. This is the spiritual potency of Srila Prabhupada. So he indeed presented the truth, very convincing way. It hit the heart. They couldn't challenge further. So the message was very clear. This is Prabhupada. Similar incident took place in a different context in Mayapur. So instead of these Western philosophers and scientists, there was a group of Vedic scholars. So you can imagine Vedic scholars. Vedic scholars means for them just Bhagavad Gita is nothing. They have gone through all the Vedic literature. Bhagavad Gita, that's very simple. Upanishads, we have gone through all the Upanishads. 108 principal Upanishads we have gone through. We can chant all the mantras. If you give the mic, they will not stop. They can have a recitation for hours together. So all of them assembled in front of Srila Prabhupada. So Prabhupada asked simply one question. Okay, so what is the conclusion of all the Vedic literature? That's all. This is actually, when you are with someone, if you are asking question, you are in control. If you are asking question, you are in control. Because then they have to think, immediately the process start working. They cannot defend immediately. So this is actually a technique. Prabhupada immediately asked this question. What is the conclusion of all Vedas? What was the answer? That is the answer. What is the answer that they gave? They said, no, we cannot come to any conclusion like that. All the Vedic scholars directly told, we cannot come to any conclusion. Prabhupada, what he did, being an expert preacher, there were Gurukul boys running around. Gurukul boys are here. Like that, Gurukul boys were there. So got some Gurukul boy, one boy he got. So tell me, what is the conclusion of Veda? What is the absolute reality? What is the ultimate truth? Boy said, Krishna. So Prabhupada said, look, in our movement, even a child, even a kid knows the ultimate conclusion, right? You know Krishna, right? Yes. Any question? Tell Krishna, that's the answer, that's it. Problem solved. If they have any problem, tell chant Hare Krishna. Two things, everything done. Krishna is the supreme truth, chant Hare Krishna. Problem, everything solved. So Prabhupada made all of them stunned by this episode. Just stunned. No more, they couldn't speak anything. So that is Bhaktivedanta. Bhakti is the Vedanta. So Bhaktivedanta, the real meaning of Bhaktivedanta is devotional service. We say Bhaktivedanta means degree. Yes, the degree is there. One needs to know everything so that with good quality one can do devotional service. So the conclusion is Bhakti. It is a devotional service. So Prabhupada is mentioning here, look, I was able to challenge everyone and smash anyone and everyone based on the absolute truth. We hear this conversation Prabhupada had about many of the major Western philosophers. You're reading that book. What is the title of the book? Beyond Illusion and Doubt. Who was presenting the philosophy to Prabhupada? Yeah. So now, these devotees were presenting philosophy, Western philosophy to Srila Prabhupada, and Prabhupada was not so much familiarized with that philosophy. It's an interesting situation, right? Prabhupada doesn't know actually the philosophy. So what would Prabhupada say? Prabhupada say, you tell the philosophy first. So a devotee has to tell the philosophy, and then Prabhupada was able to analyze the philosophy and accept or reject whatever is favorable for Krishna consciousness or whatever is against Krishna consciousness. Meaning atheistic parts, he will just immediately reject. So Prabhupada's point is, when you are in a conversation and if you don't know a subject matter, if somebody is presenting the subject matter, so if you say, what do you know about such and such philosophy? What do you know about Nietzsche, for example? What do you know about existentialism? Okay. So first Prabhupada say, I don't know about it. Can you please explain what it is? It's a fair answer, right? We don't have to pause. If you don't know, ask them what it is. So let them explain. Once they explain, then Prabhupada is able to give his opinion based on Vedic verdict, Vedic version. Correct? This is a technique Prabhupada used all the time. He didn't go and study all different kinds of philosophies. He didn't bother to study all different kinds of philosophies. But when an argument is posed, he understands the philosophy behind and he would answer. Let it be anything. So this is the expertise of Srila Prabhupada. Any situation he was able to present the ultimate philosophy without any compromise. This incident took place again and again. One time in America, a big Vedic scholar came. He was a professor of the university. He was a professor of the university, and he was Indian origin. So he was living in America, and again came to Prabhupada, asked the same question. Prabhupada asked the same question. You had to remember the same question. What is the question?
What is the philosophy?
No, what is the philosophy? He is a Vedic scholar. He is a Hindu. He is the professor of Hindu studies.
What's the conclusion of Vedas?
Exactly, in that line. What is the conclusion of Vedas? And he asked, what is Hinduism? Pretty much. He asked, what is Hinduism? Explain, what is Hinduism? Similar. Simple question, what is Hinduism? You are a professor of Hinduism, tell me what is Hinduism. What was the answer? Can I tell you what is the answer? Can you tell what is the answer? No, the Hindu professor. So what, big professor, what answer he would have given? Next, you want to try? There is no right or wrong, you can give any answer you want. Worshipping God, that's pretty good actually, it's a good direction. The professor was not that advanced. You want to give? Yeah, that she said, I don't know. That was the answer. that was the actual answer. He said, that I cannot tell. Meaning, I don't know. That I cannot tell, So don't ask me this question. So Prabhupada had a good time. Prabhupada, next to him was, Bhakti-Swarup Damodar Maharaj. Bhakti-Swarup Damodar Maharaj. So he asked, Bhakti-Swarup, what do we call those people who tell that they know everything, but actually they don't know? In English, there is a word for them. So can you see, Prabhupada is presenting so diplomatically. Prabhupada is going to smash, okay? Prabhupada is going to smash. And he said, what do we call such people who say that they know, they are big professors, but at the same time they don't know what they are speaking? So he said, Prabhupada, we call them cheaters. Can you see, Prabhupada didn't say, did Prabhupada say his professor is a cheater? No, he didn't say anything. He asked the student, Bhakti-Swarup Damodar Maharaj, probably he was a brahmachari, that what do we call them who are hypocritical like this? We call them cheaters. The professor was very much smashed. Smashed to the ground, correct or no? But there was some transformation. Eventually, I think he accepted a few things, I think. So this is how Prabhupada was able to present the absolute truth in any circumstance, and he was able to smash anyone. It's like Prabhupada says, simple thing he asks. to professors, big scientists, okay, you're saying that the life is coming from matter? Okay, that's fine. If we give you all the matter, whatever matter you want, we can give you. Can you produce, can you demonstrate producing life from matter? What do they say? No, we can't. Prabhupada quoted this also in front of this, the professors in LA. My disciple, referring to Bhakti Damodar Maharaj, he is in the America, he was in the university, he was doing his PhD in the similar thing, chemistry and biochemical, all these kind of things. So he said, my student challenged a big professor. So it's not just me, okay? He's telling even my student challenged a big professor that he said the life is coming from matter. He challenged, we will give you all the elements from the periodic table. If you have studied chemistry, periodic table. All the stuff from the periodic table I'll give it to you. Can you produce life? And the answer was no. Can you see? So Prabhupada take pride, transcendental pride, in telling that it's not that I can't smash the scientists, even my disciples will also smash the scientists who are atheistic. It's not like scientists in general are a problem, but those who are atheistic. So this is very important for us to be very thorough with Vedic literature, Vedic philosophy. We had to be very thorough. As Srila Prabhupada said, we had to be like lawyers quoting law points. 2 point, 4 point, their code, penal code, this code. Isn't it? That's how the lawyers present their case in the court. Similarly, Prabhupada wanted his disciples to know Srila Prabhupada's books in and out, and he wanted everyone to quote thoroughly. One time, His Holiness Gaur Govinda Maharaj made an interesting statement. He asked one devotee, what is that verse? So he told some verse, or he made a point. He asked, what is the reference? So devotee couldn't answer. He said, if you cannot give the reference, you are a cheater. And devotees are not cheaters. Meaning, unable to substantiate what you are speaking. It can be speculation if you cannot refer. So a devotee goes back always to Shastra. So then it is clear that we are not speculating. Prabhupada didn't want speculation. He wanted clear-cut answers. And that is based on Shastra. And that's why devotees need to study Shastra. Need to preach Shastra. So that we are clear what he is speaking. And it is bona fide. And it will be powerful. It will be impactful because it is Krishna's words. It is Srila Prabhupada's words. So even in our case, if we meet with scientists, then if they ask questions, we should be able to answer those questions. We cannot shy away. We have to answer in a logical and convincing fashion, according to our abilities. We may not, we may smash or we may not smash. We may be succeeded or maybe a failure, but still, we have to present right answers in a convincing fashion, according to our capacity, isn't it? That is our role, because we are followers of Srila Prabhupada. So we had to do that. Many times we are being challenged, isn't it? When we preach Krishna consciousness, people ask all different kinds of questions. And we had to actually answer those questions. I remember many times when we present, we are not the body, we are the soul. And especially when we talk about consciousness, etc., we have to take help from even the research from the scientists. That is another approach we had to take. So there are favorable scientists who have established many points about the soul, which we can use when we are presenting our case. It can be an additional support to the Vedic philosophy that is presented. So we may take help from the theistic scientists who present the right points, and we can use some of the research conclusions to support the Lord's statement. So we can take anything and everything to support our statement if it is really convincing the other person. So we use materialistic research, their understanding about consciousness, and many people do appreciate when we present in that way, isn't it? People do appreciate, okay, the scientists are also telling this, and here Krishna is also telling, okay, probably I can put my faith in it. So we can use logic, we can use scientific research, we can use anything which is supportive to Krishna consciousness. So we don't say that if something is supportive, we don't blindly reject. Okay, this is from the scientist, so we do reject. No, we don't do that. On this point, that is analyzing the science and getting the valid point which are supportive to Krishna consciousness, a pioneering work was done by Sadaputta Prabhu. If you say Sadaputta Prabhu's books, it's actually pioneering works on this direction. And of course, after that, Dhrudakarma Prabhu also. But Sadaputta Prabhu's works are very pioneering to give an insight into science and where we can use some of these things and where we cannot use some of these things. So it is very interesting. His work is very pioneering, and his magazine called Origin Magazines, they address everything. It means all the major scientific concepts are used, which could be used in Krishna consciousness, and to establish there is a consciousness, etc. That is one of the pioneering work from disciples of Prabhupada. Very interesting. So devotees do use these kind of things. Similar approach we can see in the writings of Bhakti Swarup Damodar Maharaj. He also has done a lot of work on this direction. That is, use the science and logic to come to this, to whatever one can, go higher, this much level, and then we are coming from here, we are coming from the top, that is from Krishna, the Vedic literature, and he is trying to have that synthesis. So his conferences are called, the synthesis of science and religion. Because the science is trying to go upwards, it can go some upwards, which of course it can, and we are coming from down because that is the Avaroha Pantha. Aroha Pantha, from down to up, and the Avaroha Pantha. So Avaroha Pantha. So there is a possibility of synthesis if we have an expert preacher, if we have an expert scientist who is a devotee. So in the development of Krishna consciousness, we have seen that as well. So we can tap into that wherever is necessary, we can use that in our own preaching. Make sense? So there are many ways of dealing with this. And Krishna helps. Krishna helps to preach Krishna consciousness. Many times we are challenged and people ask questions. Or there are, people say that there is artificial life. There are articles in major scientific magazines. Artificial life, about artificial life. Finally, we created artificial life. I have read a few articles, and I was consistently reading few articles on this direction a few years back about artificial life. So the title is very interesting. It's all about artificial life. We have created artificial life. So I was always impressed to see, okay, that's very interesting. So let me read. So I went through the article. When you go through the article, you really understand, by the mercy of Srila Prabhupada, that they haven't actually created life from matter. What is Srila Prabhupada's famous book? Life comes from life. That is a very essential book for a devotee to understand. Those principles are very important, how Prabhupada answers those questions. So here, when it is mentioned, okay, we have created artificial genome. So finally, what they're saying is we have created artificial genome. From there, the title of the article is, we have created life. But when you read, you understand, they have created artificial genome. So genes have been created, which is artificial. Does that mean that we have created life? Is the genes producing life? No. Can you see what they have done is, they have taken a bacteria, they have removed one gene, they have removed the gene, and they have replicated another gene, and they have inserted that gene into this bacteria. So, of course, the gene has been replaced, no doubt. They have put an artificial gene, and they said it is computer generated. And not only that, there is a watermark in the gene. Pretty impressive, right? There is watermark in the gene. So if somebody tomorrow is going to operate this bacteria, and if they take out the gene and see, they can see the person who actually discovered this. My name is there in the gene of the bacteria. So yes, they have done. But have they created life? They replace the genome from a living bacteria with an artificial one. That's all. Which is impressive, it's a big thing, but no one has created life. This is the point. So, when we understand this basic spiritual knowledge, and if we apply that, then we can dismantle any arguments. That is the essential point. So Prabhupada was doing that all the time, and practically speaking, it is impossible. Who can actually challenge scientists? It's very difficult. If you enter into their area, it is very tough. It's very, very difficult. Because if you ask, say, if assume you are trying to prove something scientifically, okay? You want to prove that life, if you want to prove that life is produced, there is something like spirit. If you want to prove scientifically by research and publishing paper, it may not work. It may not work. If you provide an argument from their realm completely, and if you rely on that, it is very difficult, because they will try to find fault in some direction, or they will oppose some other argument. Can you see? It's very difficult. Any scientific theory, if you try to argue against directly, or if you give an opposite conclusion directly, then it's a lot to fight with. It's practically impossible. To the degree that even there is problem among scientists. Assume there is already an established scientific theory which is worldwide accepted. Okay? Now, if a scientist comes up with another theory which is challenging, or it has a different finding, it is very difficult to get accepted, even though if it is true. Can you see? If there is a norm in the scientific field, even with evidence, if someone goes beyond that, then they will be challenged, and there are a lot of issues. A lot of issues. I was reading a book many years back, actually, by an Oxford mathematician, and the book was on faith. And he was posing very interesting statements. He was making this point that when many scientific theories were placed, the scientific community couldn't accept, even though there were evidences. For example, there is this, the Great Continental Shift. Have you heard about Great Continental Shift? Or there was one continent, it was divided? Okay, fine. Now, when they presented this theory, Great Continental Shift, with evidences, the scientific community didn't accept. They rejected. And that went on for decades, finally to be accepted by their peers. Can you see? So, that is not one, many. I remember when I was in the university, in one of the areas, they came up with a very powerful algorithm to increase the capacity, increase the bandwidth, increase the information transfer rate. And it was phenomenally higher than all the existing schemes, phenomenally higher. So for the researchers who actually found this, who calculated, who made it, this algorithm, and they demonstrated, when they sent to different scientific conferences, it got rejected from everywhere. They rejected. All the conferences they rejected. It was great. It was phenomenally better than everything else so far. Drastic increase, exponential change. Why? They all said, you have made some mistake. So, because the thing is, everyone is working on faith. Even scientists are working on faith. So, if you shake their faith in the existing theories, it is very difficult for them to accept something newer. And some of them never change. They have to die and go. Then the new batch has to come and they have to continue. That's how it is. Some other things are like that. Say, for example, currently, if you talk about artificial, there is a lot about artificial intelligence, but if you talk about intelligent design, then you will be cornered. It has been the case for many years. If you talk about intelligent design, or if there is an intelligence behind creation, you will be cornered, and your academic life is ruined completely. There is even a video expelled, if you know. The scientists, they tell, I spoke about this, my academic career was ruined the next day. They'll be kicked out, that's for sure. if you want to try, you can try. Yeah, that's how it is. So there are things you can speak and there are things you cannot speak. So there is politics and diplomacy in the so-called high-end realm of knowledge. So here, Srila Prabhupada is presenting the absolute knowledge, and Prabhupada is telling, for ordinary men to challenge scientists or philosophers concerning genuine knowledge, but a devotee can challenge them because the best of everything is known to a devotee by the grace of Krishna. So that is the thing. So sometimes we have to challenge big scientists and philosophers, but by the grace of Krishna, we emerge successful. So that is the important point in this verse. So a devotee can give answer to anyone. And even if a devotee gets challenged, by the mercy of Krishna, devotee will be able to give appropriate answers. Of course, we are practicing devotees. So we may be successful or we may not be, but still we will have some answers. The point is, for a Madhyama devotee, of an intermediate devotee, one may be challenged, one may give some answers. It may not be convincing enough, but still such a devotee shouldn't lose one's own faith. At least that's the first thing. If we cannot convince the other person, at least one should be able to convince oneself. That's very important. With this, I stop here and see if there are any questions or comments. Hare Krishna. Yes, a microphone, yeah.
Thank you, Prabhu, for the wonderful class. Just to confirm, so they took the genome from a living bacteria and then replaced it.
That's right.
Okay. All right, cool. Thank you, Prabhu.
That's right. Yes.
Thank you, Prabhu, for the nice class. So you mentioned about, Prabhupada mentions in the purport that one who knows Krishna knows everything, and Prabhupada is using that to say that how he is able to answer all the questions.
Yes.
Now there are a lot of devotees who would know about Krishna and who would know about the science behind Krishna, but they might not necessarily have the material ability to be able to present it to people. Like, like they might not be so structured, or they might not have like very good presentation skills, but they do know Krishna and they do understand the science for themselves. So how do we take that? Because in their approach or in their presentation, they might not be able to explain the things properly. So is that...
So one should practice. If one has a sincere desire, one should practice, and Krishna will give you the intelligence. That's all. We speak according to our abilities, keep doing it, and Krishna will inspire, and you can see it is becoming more and more effective. How? I don't know. That is Krishna. He knows. Okay.
Hare Krishna. Thank you very much for a wonderful class. Like controlling the mind. Krishna says the same thing. Practice. You have to practice controlling the mind. Thank you.
Thank you, Hare Krishna. Any other question? Okay. Okay, we'll give this side and then come to the...
So, thank you for the class,
Thank you.
Prabhuji. You said nobody has created life. What about Krishna? Because he created life.
Yeah, he created the life. That's right. That's right. So what's the question?
But you said nobody has created life.
From matter.
Oh.
Yeah, from matter. No one has created from matter, but Krishna has created. Right. Your understanding is perfect. Okay? Thank you.
Thank you for the wonderful class. Prabhuji, I had a question. Like you said that Hiranyakashipu also, like he wanted to kill Narada Muni, but I thought that Narada Muni was like friends with like demons also. So
No, he didn't want to kill Narada Muni. Narada Muni was even glorifying Hiranyakashipu.
Oh.
He was not obliged, but he was acting in that fashion so that the pastime can move on. So he was playing his part. Okay. Narada Muni has the power to do anything. He doesn't have. He can just disappear like this. He can go to Vaikuntha, what Hiranyakashipu can do. Right? Narada can just go on, okay, in the Vaikuntha now. So he can do anything, but he was playing his part. That, okay, obeisance, okay, I am also paying obeisances to you. So, friendly relation. Narada is good with good relation with everyone, including Kamsa, everyone.
Okay.
So even demons trust, you can give to Surya.
Thank you, Prabhuji, for the nice class. Prabhuji, you said that if we know Lord Krishna, then we know everything.
Oh.
Can you elaborate on this point? Because
Yes.
how can we understand Lord Krishna fully? Because he has unlimited qualities.
Oh, yeah, this is
And I have heard Keshav Prabhu saying that we should not try to understand Lord Krishna fully. We should just bow down in front of him because
That's
it's very hard to understand.
So that's it. We'll bow down in front of Krishna, we'll go home. Okay. So, your question has actually multi-dimensions. One is, how can we know Krishna fully? Because he is unlimited. Correct? That is one. Second is, by knowing Krishna, how do we know everything? That has a point like, if you know Krishna, then do we need to learn this mathematics, geography, this, that, is it required? We know Krishna, chant Hare Krishna, then be happy. So there are different points to it. Then, the point is, yes, we cannot know Krishna completely because he is unlimited. There is no doubt about it. He is Ananta. At the same time, we can know Krishna whatever he wants us to know about him. Okay, is it correct? We can know about Krishna as much as he allows us to know about him. And how much he allows us to know? Any idea? How much he allows us to know? That's true, depending on the surrender. That is one aspect still. There is another point. How much he will allow us to know him? To the extent of our service to Krishna. Whatever we know, we need to know to serve Krishna, that much understanding Krishna will give. Correct? People ask this question. If you go to spiritual world, do we know Krishna? Everything, all about Krishna, everything. You will know about Krishna as much as you need to know to serve Krishna. Make sense? That much is required. That he will give. That is guaranteed. Whatever is required for us to love and serve Krishna, that he will give. Is that clear? So that much we know. So we don't artificially think that, okay, I will know everything about Krishna. But here the point is, if you know about Krishna, knew everything. Yasmin vijnade sarvam evam vijnadam bhavati means, then there is nothing more to be known, as 7th chapter of Bhagavad Gita says. 7th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, verse number 2. Krishna says, Yajñātva neha bhuta anyajñātavyo avashishyate. There is nothing more to be known. Because then if you know how to serve Krishna, there is nothing else to be known. So that understanding Krishna gives. So artificially, we say certain things about Krishna we cannot understand because it is inconceivable, it's beyond us. So then what we do? We simply pay obeisances. If we need to know, let Krishna reveal to us. Otherwise, no problem. So with our sincere endeavor, we study Shastra, we do our service, and from there what we can understand, that is being revealed to us. Make sense? So that is knowing Krishna in our level. And of course, when we go through Shastra also, there will be so many things that we cannot understand. How is Krishna situated in everyone's heart? Can we understand? We cannot understand. We can see 13th chapter, there is an analogy, Bhagavad Gita, just like the sun. This analogy is, when we cannot really understand the real spiritual truth, then a material analogy is given for us to give some understanding. Make sense? So that is our level. So we leave it at there and we bow on to Krishna. Then, on the other point, one time a reporter asked Srila Prabhupada, do you know everything? Because in the same context, Yasmin vijnāde sarvamevadam vijñātam bhavati. If you know Krishna, you know everything. So the reporter asked, so Prabhupada, do you know everything? What did Prabhupada say? What did Prabhupada say?
Yes.
Yes. Prabhupada said yes. And then the reporter asked, how many windows are there in the Empire State Building? How many windows are there in the Empire State? What was Prabhupada's answer? Prabhupada said, these are frivolous questions. There is perfect question and there is perfect answer. It's not like we can ask any nonsense. There is no answer for that. That's why Prabhupada said there is perfect question and perfect answer. That is a conversation between Guru and disciple. That is Shishasteham Shadhimam Tvam Prabannam. 2nd chapter of Bhagavad Gita. So it's not like, we have to answer any nonsense. That's not the... question to Guru has to be meaningful. That is perfect question. Then there will be perfect answers. It's not like ask any frivolous question and get any answer. That doesn't make any sense. It's frivolous. Makes sense? Okay. Jai Prabhu, probably will. Yeah.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, thank you for the wonderful class. I was just curious, if we look at the early days of Prabhupada, one of the kind of the biggest influences of how the Hare Krishna movement was propagated was Prabhupada openly challenging all these different philosophies and different institutions and faiths. And I guess in this day and age, maybe it's due to my lack of knowledge, that it doesn't seem like ISKCON or the movement is taking such a big stance of going out there publicly and challenging all these big kind of philosophies, universities, or is there a reason why we don't do that anymore as a way to propagate Hare Krishna movement now?
It depends on the individual preacher, how they want to approach. Some people do that directly and some people don't. The question is, what is effective? What works? That is the end of the day, that's the only thing. So we need to present Krishna consciousness, whatever works. So now, in worldwide, certainly there is a change, isn't it? Now if you see, there is more acceptance to meditation. There is more acceptance to spirituality generally, even in the universities, generally. Say for example, last year, I got an email from Melbourne Uni. They have started a research center, part of the psychology department, specifically studying more on meditation and spiritual techniques, the effects on the mind and all those kind of things. So even in mainstream, there are many places where they take spirituality a bit more seriously. And meditation is such a common thing. So there is a change in the consciousness. We can see in many places. And so, if we can even tap into that, that's also good. Because whatever works. So at the end of the day, the point is whatever works. So it doesn't really matter, go and smash the scientist, or one may take another approach, whatever works. Make sense? Yeah. Hare Krishna. Thank you very much. ग्रंथराज श्रीमद् भागवतम की, श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय.